I've always loved success stories. There's a lot you can learn from people who've already figured things out, and although it doesn't mean it's the only right way to do things, there's a lot of helpful advice that you can take just by listening to their story and by listening to interviews with them. In this case, I took the time to research a Shopify store that was doing absolute insane numbers and is still going crazy, but the founder is out of it currently. But back in the day, it was doing $45 million in profit annually, which is absolutely wild given that it was started by people who only had $500 to start out with, and they had to ask their friends for money to make the first batch of orders, which is crazy. So I'm going to be talking about that today, and there's a lot of good takeaways that we can learn from this brand, and hopefully it helps you guys apply that stuff to your own brands, to your own startups, to your own companies, your own Shopify stores, and will help you guys be more successful. So let's get right into it. All right, so the company is called Triangle, and if you're a guy, you probably haven't heard of this like me. If you're a girl, you probably have heard of this, and you might have even shopped there in the past because it was so big and it exploded in the last 5 years. So what they do is they make swimsuits, but they do it differently than everyone used to, and because of that, they were a huge innovator in their space. It was founded by this Australian couple named Aaron Deering and Craig Ellis, and basically, as I already mentioned, they had no money to start off with, but they moved to, I think it was Hong Kong, and they were able to work directly in the factory and be right there where these swimsuits were being made. And the friend, I think a couple best friends of Craig Ellis, loaned him $25,000 to get the company started and to live off of while it was working. And they made some test designs, and they went with whichever one went the best. And that just happened to be a neoprene swimsuit. And this is kind of a breakthrough back then because not a lot of companies were using neoprene to make it. A lot of companies use nylon, but neoprene is a sturdier fabric that I guess for women who need more support. They don't want anything see-through if it's cold, you know what I'm saying? Neoprene is a really good option for that. And because of that, they were able to take over the market with surprising quickness, and I don't even know, like it's just, their story is absolutely wild. In their first year, I listened to this podcast with the starter of the company, and she said that their first year they had slow growth. The numbers were, they did $5 million in sales in their first year, and after that they just scaled up. That is absolutely wild. And there's some really good marketing takeaways that she said in the podcast, so let's get into those now. One of the biggest lessons from this store is the fact that you need to know your market super well if you're going to start off with a brand that you're actually producing your own inventory for. And if you follow me for dropshipping, luckily we don't have this product risk, but if you're going to create an actual brand at some point ever, it's helpful to know this because she knew that because she was selling swimwear, she had a very specific way that she wanted to do her marketing, and it proved extremely effective. She used influencer marketing on Instagram and built up a massive following. And in the interview, she said that Instagram is the perfect place to advertise for swimwear because what are people looking at on Instagram? If you think about it, the majority of it is travel pictures, food pictures, or body pictures of some sort. So if you post a photo of an attractive woman in a bikini, it's gonna do really well on Instagram organically, and combining that with influencers is an incredibly powerful way of generating organic traffic to your brand. Having consumers only see extremely attractive women wearing these bikinis on the beach in basically a tropical paradise, it created a sort of aspirational aspect to the brand. So these people wanted to achieve this lifestyle that these girls were living, and obviously who doesn't want to live the life that an influencer lives? And so because of that, it increased the perceived value of the brand because beautiful women, tropical islands, who doesn't want that? And the high perceived value of the brand continued to grow when they attracted these famous influencers and got them to post pictures with their brand. And so that's when their brand really took off. They have crazy names like Kendall Jenner, Miley Cyrus, I think Beyonce, they got Beyonce. They got a bunch of people, maybe even Kim Kardashian, and all these people they were able to get by paying or giving free swimsuits to, and when they got posted, obviously, it just blew the brand up completely. Part of what contributed to Triangle's success was the fact that they started going heavy on Instagram right as Instagram was really growing at its fastest pace and getting the most traction within the social media platforms. That's when Instagram was absolutely taking over, less people were using Facebook, and they timed it perfectly and couldn't have done it better. In terms of the brand value, what they wanted to focus on was giving the customer as positive an experience as possible. The founder said that for the first year of sales, she handled 100% of customer service, which is absolutely crazy because 5 million in sales generates a lot of emails. I know, it gets ridiculous once you get over, I don't even know, 10, 20 orders a day. She said they were doing over 2,000 orders a day at their highest point. One of my favorite aspects about the company is the brand name. And this is because it's exactly what I teach to all my e-commerce students. The fact that you don't want to have one of those sketchy store names that's like, I don't even know, best sales with 3 Z's or something like that. You don't want to have that. You don't want to have shoptrendyproductsnow.co or something. Nobody wants to shop at a brand whose name is that. They want to shop at a brand name that's clean and recognizable, but also something that hasn't previously been branded yet. And Triangle is a really good example of this because they took the word triangle, which comes from, I guess, the triangle bikini, and they just took the E off and made it look clean. And that's all they needed to do, but it was instantly recognizable. If they had done bestbikinishopwear.com or something like that, I don't think the brand would have been half as successful as it was. Another thing we can take away from them is the fact that they have a really clean website and they use a ton of very high quality photos when you are looking at their website. And it's actually an interesting website because I've never seen one that has the images of just the product itself, but then when you scroll over it, it shows the model wearing it, which is actually pretty cool. And I think this helps people to envision what they would look like in it. And also it's, on a tropical beach, which helps people again to envision themselves in that beach, and it's more aspirational and they want to be on a beach, so they buy the bikini. It's a mental subconscious thing that I don't even think they think about, but it ultimately converts them to purchase more than they would otherwise. The last great lesson from the founder was in her biggest moment where she was making the most money, everything was going right for her. She said she had to call her mom every day with an update because something new and better kept happening, but that was the point in her life when she was honestly the saddest because she strayed away from herself when her business grew out of control and it grew faster than she ever could have imagined, and she wasn't able to stay true to who she was when she started. I guess the moral of the story is don't get so caught up on the growth of your company that you lose who you were when you started and forget about the vision that you originally had for it, because that's the most important thing, and you're gonna be more happy if you run your company at a manageable level and stay true to who you are than if you scale it up to $100 million a year, but you end up having to give up all those things that you care so much about. So yeah guys, to summarize the biggest takeaways from this $45 million a year company, you have to know your target market. You have to do things differently than the competition. You need to make sure that you have a very high perceived brand value. You need to make sure that you have a clean website with lots of high quality photos. And you need to make sure that you have a very clean brand name that's easily recognizable and is not too, I guess, messy. And yeah, that's it. So hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, please smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, let's grow better together, and I'll see you in the next video. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.